Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for the second interview about how Heesen is dealing with the impact of COVID-19. My name is Richard Donkin, I'm a journalist, and I'm delighted to be in the virtual company today of Mark Cavendish, Director of Sales and Marketing at Heesen. Hello Mark. First of all, how are you getting on?
Afternoon, Richard. Nice to see you again. All good here. Thanks very much. Yes, we're all safe up in Shropshire. Well and truly isolated here.
Well, that's good to know. I just wondered, how is this crisis changing the way that Heesen's getting in touch with its clients? I mean, there must be all kinds of restrictions that are preventing buyers visiting the yard. In normal times, clients would visit many times over the course of a build, but I guess that's not really possible now. So how are you coping with it, and what kind of measures have you introduced to ensure that clients are familiar with every aspect of the build?
Yes, I mean it is an enormous problem for an industry of ours, and there's all kinds of ingenious solutions we've been looking at to try to keep the owners of the yachts informed with what's going on. The most obvious one is to do the video walkthrough. Last week or the week before, we did a walkthrough on a 60-meter yacht. The project manager went around the boat and explained all the aspects of the construction that had been going on. So the owners team got a really good idea of where we were and what the status was. And that's, to be honest, that's really the only solution we have. Of course, we have regular reports back to the owners team. And in some cases, not now or not recently, but the early stages, it was possible for a few representatives to come into the shipyard, but that's pretty much all stopped now. So really, it's just a matter of us photographing, recording on paper. We have, of course, charts explaining the stage of production for yachts. And of course, there's the milestones. When a contract is signed, there are various milestone events. And of course, we keep the owners informed when they're coming up. And they're usually easy to identify. They're major events like joining the hull and the superstructure or placing the engines on board. So it's relatively easy to convince the owners that we have actually done that with photography and reports. But not easy, really not easy at the moment.
How have owners reacted to this? Are they frustrated?
Well, that's an interesting question. Of course, when this first happened, I wrote to all the owners notifying them that, to be honest, we didn't know what was going to happen, that there may be a delay in their boat, there may not be a delay, but for sure something was going to happen. And I go, you wonder what sort of reaction you're going to get when you send out a letter like that. And to be honest, all of the owners who we're building boats for at the moment came back saying they fully understood that they're having the same problems their end, and that we'll obviously do the best we can to minimize any delays, which is what we've been doing. But honestly, they were all of them understanding, which was great and so reassuring for us to have.
When this virus hit, it wasn't initially like falling off a cliff, even though that might have happened later on. We were at the beginning of the year, and I believe you were doing very well with inquiries. How did that change? And how is it affecting the process where you're looking for clients now?
Yes, you're absolutely right, because I remember when it first was hitting the news. For me, it was in February, middle of February, and I was actually away on holiday at the time, and we heard about this, and we all thought, oh, well, yes, it's just going to be a bit irritating, isn't it? But, it's only a mild dose of flu, and we've all survived that. And, came back and all the rest of it. And then, of course, the severity of the whole thing hit us, and we realized that we're going to entering a whole new world, basically. We're going to have to make a whole new set of provisions for how we work in the shipyard, how the owners visit us, and indeed how we even look for new customers of boats.
I mean, given the uncertainty over boat shows, for instance, and restrictions on air travel, we don't know quite when that's going to change, although many of your clients have their own private jets. We know that, you know, if they thought they could use those jets and helicopters and what have you, it hasn't been possible in many cases. But you know, given those restrictions and various national lockdowns, some of which are coming out of in, you know, at different paces and different processes with different governments, how can you initiate an order now? You know, you're in a business which is very much relationship-based business, face-to-face, and here you are trying to sell perhaps the most luxurious item that anybody will buy. How on earth do you get to square one now?
Yeah, I mean, you've gone right to the kernel of the problem, and it's the parallel problem of how we keep our existing owners informed with what's going on their own boats, trying to persuade new owners to come to the shipyard and either talk about commissioning a new boat or looking at one of our existing in-build yachts. It is really, really difficult, and it is the biggest problem that we have at the moment, is continuing the commercial aspect of the business. I mean, we're doing everything we can to keep people interested in what we do. We've made photographic reports of the boats in build. We've made video walkthroughs so people can see the stage of construction. We have one yacht in the yard that is almost completely finished. It's got some of its loose furniture on board. It's that level of readiness. And we've made a really nice video of that boat so that people can see it. But at the end of the day, I mean, I wouldn't want to sound despondent or anything, but I think it's going to be really, really hard, virtually impossible for buyers to actually buy a yacht without being able to physically visit it, set foot on it, touch it, feel it, and most importantly, you know, meet face to face the people who are going to finish his boat for the owner. It's a huge investment, and I mean, maybe somebody will do it. Maybe some people will do it, but most people, I suspect, will probably wait until the opportunity comes. Now, having said that, there's an enormous amount of talk about boat shows being cancelled and you know, this thing going on for weeks or months. But I say to people, remember, this really only hit hard at the 1st of March. We're now halfway through May, so that's 2.5 months, and we're now at a point where we're talking about easing up in the UK. We know what's going on there. I saw yesterday that the marinas in the UK are now fully opening, so all our waterways in the UK are opening. So for those people who have family sailing boats and things, they can now go out on the water. We couldn't do that before. The Netherlands, where I work, is opening up. So this is in a 2.5 month time frame. Let's now project forward 2.5 months from now, and you're at the end of July. Where will we be at the end of July? Well, if this process continues at the same pace, logically, there should be a great deal more freedom of movement, logically. I mean, that, of course, all depends on what medically happens and what advice government gets from the scientists. But all we can do is look at what's happened in the past and work on the future. So hopefully we'll be a lot freer. Now, in the Netherlands, there is a ban on visitors coming in from outside the EU, which has been extended to the middle of June. That is a serious disappointment for us. It's another month away. We are in talks through the Marine Association in the Netherlands with the Dutch government and with the European Parliament in Brussels to see if it's possible to obtain special permits for clients to visit shipyards. We're not unique in this. I mean, we're not the only yacht building yard in Holland, but it's not only yacht building, it's also, of course, commercial shipbuilding is affected. So there is a serious desire and requirement to try and find a way of letting customers in under some sort of special permit. And hopefully we'll know more on that soon. Either way, maybe middle of June is when people can start moving. And I think, sorry to drone on a bit, but I think your last point about people with private airplanes, yes, I suspect they will be the ones who will be able to travel much quicker than anybody else. And of course, that's the business we're in. So hopefully we'll see them on the 16th of June.
I suppose that shows that the dream still exists. And I was thinking about this, that maybe there are some people who haven't had a yacht and want to have a yacht, and are taking this crisis and thinking, well, if not now, when? And that's a different way of thinking about things, isn't it?
Yeah, every cloud has a silver lining, I guess. But I think, to go back to your earlier point, I think you're right. There will be some owners who will be fed up and maybe even financially constrained and have to get rid of their boats. But, that's a situation that's been with us, through good times and bad times, that people's situations change and all the rest of it. Bargain hunters are always out there looking for that opportunity. But I think equally there will be a lot of people who are probably rethinking their lives. A lot of people probably thinking about how much they're going to travel on airplanes, either public or private, and how much, how precious life is. I think there will be, I don't believe that the interest in yachting will be diminished in any way after this. There may be a period where it's difficult to do business, and there may be a period where, all these situations bring out at the end of them the bargain hunters, and for sure they will be there, and there will be bargains to be had in the market. But then a few months after that, things have a habit of settling down and going back to a normal pattern, and I'm sure it'll be the same.